Ed Reed, and you're watching Sports Desk.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, former UAM guy. You're watching Sports Desk.
What's up? I'm DJ Williams, and y'all watching Sports Desk.
Hello and welcome to the special presentation of Sports Desk. I'm your host, Daniel Toll. Today's date is April 17, 2024, and on today's episode, join us as we share with you the beginning of a new chapter in the decorated history of Miami Hurricanes baseball. This spring semester represents a major turning point in the trajectory of the team. After former head coach Gino DiMare stepped down during the offseason, Miami pitching coach J.D. Arteaga stepped up to fill the role, becoming the 10th head coach in program history. And even though Arteaga is a familiar face for the Canes, the roster and coaching staff has a very different look and feel as the Canes look to return to Omaha for the first time since 2016. But before diving into the future of Canes baseball, let's take a look back and see how the program got to where it is today. The University of Miami baseball team fielded its first varsity team more than 80 years ago in the 1940 spring season. But it wasn't until the 1970s that the Hurricanes became an elite college baseball program. It all started in 1973, when the Hurricanes made their second appearance all-time in the NCAA tournament. That season was the first of 44 consecutive appearances in the tournament, a college baseball record that still stands strong today. Miami's half-century stretch of dominance included 25 trips to the College World Series and 4 national championships, good for 5th most in all of college baseball. Along the way, the Hurricanes were led by some legendary coaches. The Wizard of college baseball, Ron Frazier, was at the helm for 30 years and reeled in almost 1,300 wins and Miami's first 2 national titles. In 1994, Jim Morris began his career as the Canes head coach and almost outdid Frazier, totaling almost 1,100 wins across 25 seasons and winning 2 titles of his own. The end of the Morris era brings us close to the present day. In 2019, former Miami outfielder and longtime assistant coach Gino DiMare was promoted to the head coach role. DiMare led the Canes to 4 straight NCAA appearances, but resigned at the end of last season shortly after Miami's elimination from the tournament. His departure opened the door for J.D. Arteaga, who led Miami's pitching staff for more than 20 seasons and in his playing days was the winningest starting pitcher in program history. Before the start of the season, Arteaga shared what it meant for him to be the face of the program after so many years at the U.
It's exciting. I mean, it's an honor, number one. It's exciting. I'm blessed to get the opportunity to lead a program that I grew up watching, following, and playing for in a school that I went to, and most importantly, in a community that I grew up in. It's made me who I am.
For the 2024 Canes baseball team, a new head coach also meant a new coaching staff. After his promotion to his new role, Arteaga searched beyond Coral Gables when selecting his assistants, and the 2 right-hand men he chose bring a wealth of experience in all levels of baseball, including the big leagues. Replacing Arteaga as the pitching coach is Laz Gutierrez, a Miami alum and 3-year southpaw under Coach Morris. After a 3-year career in the MLB, Gutierrez began his coaching career just blocks away from his alma mater at Coral Gables Senior High School. He has since put together an accomplished career in various coaching roles, highlighted by a 13-year tenure with the Boston Red Sox, in which he served as a mental skills coordinator and helped the team win 3 World Series championships. At Miami, Gutierrez now blends his pitching background and experience working in performance psychology in a unique role.
The one thing I learned in professional baseball, or at least working at the major league level, that the true separator is the mindset, right? Or the ability to cope with stress and with pressure, perceived pressure. Many times we don't think about the mental side until we're struggling, but we're trying to make them aware of how to utilize it as a tool just like they would any other tool.
The mind behind the Hurricanes offense in 2024 is Darren Fenster, who also spent the last decade with the Red Sox, helping them win 2 World Series championships as a minor league manager and coordinator. Fenster inherited a team that lived and died by the long ball in 2023, but in 2024, his goal was to create a more well-rounded and complete offensive approach for the Hurricanes.
We'll have guys who can hit the ball to the ballpark, but we're going to need to be able to, to essentially, some games we might need to single a team to death. Some games it might be finding a way on base without hitting much. It's having productive outs. It's running the bases. Each guy brings something to the table, and having them play to their own strengths, I think, makes us a pretty dynamic offense that could score in a lot of different ways.
For Coach Arteaga, the priority when selecting his staff was choosing people that could help him, but also take charge and lead the team in their own way. And at this year's Media Day, Arteaga spoke about the type of coaching culture his Hurricanes will have moving forward.
I've said a number of times I got a great staff and I need all the help I can get, and that's why I work so hard in hiring what I think are the right guys and the best guys for me. So it's definitely a collective group effort. Any success that we have is going to be as a group.
We've met the coaches running the show for Canes baseball, but now it's time to meet the players who take the field. After a quick break, we'll dive into the makeup of this year's team, from the newcomers to the familiar faces, as well as some of the notable storylines from the 2024 Canes. We'll be back in a moment.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
Welcome back to Sports Desk. Thanks for staying with us. Even though last season came to an abrupt end for Canes baseball in the NCAA regional round, UM had one of its largest draft classes in the last 15 years. Miami's 9 MLB draft picks was the most since 2009, when another 9 Canes went to the pros. Among those in last year's draft class were 2 All-Americans in Yoandy Morales and Andrew Walters, who were both selected in the second round. The departures of 4 everyday position players and 5 pitchers left some big shoes to fill for the 2024 Hurricanes, and those vacancies were occupied by both returners and newcomers. Within the pitching staff, freshmen Nick Robert, Ashton Crowther, and Brandon Oliveira have been some of the top inning eaters out of the bullpen, and Miami-Dade college transfer Herrick Hernandez and Rafe Schlesinger earned permanent roles in the weekend rotation. For Schlesinger, who spent 2 seasons working out of the Miami bullpen, the confidence of his coaches has played a crucial role in his success as a Saturday night starter.
Like Laz says, you're the most consistent when you're consistently yourself, so go out there. I know how I am. I'm a lefty slinger. So that's what I'm going to try to be. I'm not going to try to dot up corners every second. Like, that's not me. I'm going to go out there and whatever Rafe's got that day, that's what we're rolling with. So that's my mentality, and it's been working so far.
With all the overhaul that the pitching staff endured in the offseason, the Miami offense also lost a significant amount of its firepower due to the draft. Between Yoandy Morales, CJ Kafis, Zach Levinson, and Dominic Patelli, this quartet of Canes in 2023 accounted for nearly half of the team's home runs, extra base hits, and runs batted in, as well as 80% of the team's stolen bases. Throughout the season, JD Arteaga's staff has cycled between a few different players to fill those roles both in the lineup and on the diamond. Edgardo Villegas has been the primary center fielder for the Canes, but outfield duties have also been shared between Lorenzo Carrier, Jacoby Long, and Wake Forest transfer Lucas Costello. First base responsibilities belong exclusively to Jason Torres, who is among the team leaders in nearly every offensive category through April. Grad student J.D. Urso and freshman Antonio Jimenez have split time at shortstop, and freshman standout Daniel Cuvée has taken over the hot corner. Cuvée currently paces the team in home runs, runs batted in, doubles, slugging percentage, and on-base plus slugging percentage. It's not every day a true freshman puts his team's offense on his back, but the Hurricanes knew what they were getting out of Cuvée from the moment he committed to the U. As a high schooler, the Fort Lauderdale, Florida native was the top-ranked third baseman in the country according to Perfect Game, and was a 36th ranked player overall. He was also drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 17th round of the MLB draft, but before going to the show, Cuvée is committed to winning at the college level.
I mean, I really feel like in college we have a way more focus on winning and being a winning baseball club, where in the minors you kind of more have a developmental side of it. So being here and in a winning aspect of it is like huge, and I love that. I'm a big winner, and I think the guys around here are, so I'm really excited for that.
Cuvé's highlight reel of light tower power is no secret, and it's his ability to hit the ball out of the park that stands out most to his teammates and coaches. Here's what they had to say about the freshman's potential.
I think the first thing that you notice out of Daniel is the power. He has the potential to really hit any pitch out of the ballpark to all fields, which is a very difficult thing to do.
I was telling somebody just watching BP yesterday, I don't remember a freshman with more power than Daniel. Just in BP. I guess it's BP, but just the ability to hit the ball as far and as hard as he does.
He's come in, he's worked his butt off, he's done everything he's needed to do, and he definitely has a lot of power. We see it every day. He puts balls over the scoreboard in BP, in games too, and we're really excited to see what Daniel can do.
For Cuvée, the expectations could not be held higher for him, especially as Yo-Yo Morales' replacement on the field and at the plate. But despite the comparisons with Morales, Cuvée is focused on being the best version of himself every day and letting his game speak for itself.
Me and Yo-Yo get along well, and I'm here. I'm myself, my own player. I'm Daniel Cuvée. I got my own swing, I got my own throw, I got my own fielding way, so I'm here to be myself and bring my own energy every day.
Cuvée is one of the many new faces on this year's Hurricanes team, but Miami did retain two of its top players from last year's squad in infielder Blake Sear and starting pitcher Gage Zeal. Blake Sear was a consensus All-American freshman last year after hitting for a .305 batting average, slugging 17 long balls, and driving in 63 runs. But last year, Sear was simply one part of an offensive core. Now in his second year, he's the heartbeat of the Miami offense. Coach Arteaga shared earlier in the season how this change in the team dynamic will impact Sear moving forward.
Yeah, we lost a lot of hitters. He was pretty well protected last year, where he's going to be the focal point to every pitching staff that we face. So he's got some challenges ahead of him, and he's got to understand that he doesn't have to do everything, and just not get into a position where he's getting himself out swinging at bad pitches and things like that. So.
Despite more responsibility falling on Sear this season, in addition to working with a new coaching staff, Miami's sophomore star remains loyal to Miami and the vision of the program.
I've been a guy that's been committed to Miami for a long time. I committed at a really, really young age, and I'm a person I kind of pride myself as a man of my word, and I came here to play baseball, and nothing is going to change that. This is where I committed to. This is the program and the city I committed to.
On the mound, Gage Zeal returned for his third season as a Hurricane and his second season as a Friday night starter for the weekend rotation. Zeal was dominant for Miami in 2023, standing alone as the team leader in wins, innings pitched, and strikeouts. For Arteaga, bringing back an experienced Friday night starter was crucial to assembling his pitching staff.
That's a Friday night starter. To me, a Friday night starter has some to do with stuff and the ability to pitch, but has a greater deal with the character, the makeup of that guy. He does set the tone, and he's that guy. No matter what, he's going to compete from the first pitch he throws to the last pitch before we take him out of a game.
The returns of Sear and Zeal went a long way in preserving familiarity and stability in the Miami lineup and rotation. But there was one player in particular that everybody around Canes baseball, from those in the dugout to the fans in the stands, was rooting for to make a comeback. Relief pitcher Brian Walters, younger brother of Andrew, transferred to Miami last season from Eastern Florida State. He was 2 appearances into his Miami baseball career when one pitch against Indiana State ended his season. Walters, experiencing severe elbow pain after this throw on February 22, 2023, underwent Tommy John surgery and was shut down for the year. Instead of being on the field with his teammates, Walters watched his brother and the Hurricanes from the dugout last spring. But the thought of pitching again in 2024 was all he looked forward to after his injury.
I'm just competing, right? That's what I came here to do. I've been a lifelong Hurricane my whole life. My uncle played football here, my brother was here, we've always been Hurricanes fans. This means a lot to me. So to be able to compete again, just get an opportunity, that's all I ask, right? Coming back off injury, I want my opportunity and I want to roll with it, so I'm excited.
More than a full calendar year later, Walters returned to the mound on March 6 against Stonehill, and his outing could not have gone any better. It was 3 up, 3 down for B-Walt in just 13 pitches. After the game, J.D. Arteaga celebrated his pitcher's comeback on social media, sharing that Walters is one of the most loved teammates in the Miami clubhouse and expressing joy for him and his family after a long recovery. We're going to take a short break for now, but when Sports Desk returns, we'll take a look back at some of the top moments from the season so far. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Desk. Thanks for sticking around. The 2024 Canes baseball team has had its fair share of ups and downs this season. A 16-19 record through the first 35 games of the season and being close to the bottom of the ACC standings is not where Miami hoped it would be back in February. But the sub-500 record for the Hurricanes doesn't tell the full story. This new-look Miami team has held its own against some of the best teams in the country, and along the way, there have been some special moments that only a hint of Mark-Light magic can help create. Let's take a look at the Sports Desk top 5 plays of the season. Coming in at number 5, here's one you don't see every day, a walk-off squeeze play. Dorian Gonzalez Jr. in a tie ball game with runners at the corners in the bottom of the 9th bunted a ball at his eye level back to the mound for the walk-off win over FIU. Miami had struggled in midweek games up to this point, but not this time around as the Canes take the crosstown rivalry game at home by a score of 4-3. Next up at number 4, it's fair to say that this ball traveled more than a few feet. A moonshot off the bat of Daniel Cuvée went over the scoreboard out in left center field to give Miami the lead in the series opener versus Virginia. The Canes went on to hold the lead and win the game 6-5. Kudos to Cuvée. We did hear Coach Arteaga talk earlier in the show about his freshman's power in batting practice, but it's safe to say it translates in game too. And there it is on perfect display. Moving on to number 3, complete Gage. Everything was working for Gage Zeal as he was lights out dominant versus Clemson in the Friday night opener last month. Zeal cruised through all 9 frames with 15 punch-outs, and Miami needed every last bit of their ace to get the win. But what's a pitcher without his backstop? After Zeal's complete game, Jack Scanlon crushed this ball down the right field foul pole and watched it fly. As Scanlon trotted around the bases, the entire team awaited him at home plate, ready to celebrate the end of a thrilling night. One complete game and a walk-off home run later, the Canes sent the Tigers home and secured the upset victory. For our top play of the season, we've got something that was taken straight out of a movie from the man they call Hollywood. With the bags loaded and Miami down 1, Blake Sear snuck this one just over the wall in right center field to erase what was once a 12-3 deficit for the Hurricanes. Sear's opposite field homer helped Miami claw back and put the Canes in front for the remainder of the game, but the best part of that moment wasn't the swing. It's what the swing meant to him. Sear, who missed time early in the season due to personal matters, trotted around the bases pointing to the sky and shouted out his father after his big breakthrough moment against the Cavaliers.
I just want to say I love you, Dad, and I miss you.
Blake, well deserved gator. That's one last question. That win is the best comeback since 1992. What does it say about this Miami Hurricanes team?
I've been saying since the season started that this team's going to shock the world, and we're going to keep doing it.
You go, Canes? Go enjoy it. Go, Blake. See y'all tomorrow, Canes.
Special plays like these hold a lot of weight when sharing the story of the 2024 Canes baseball season. But one of the most uplifting stories surrounding the Miami baseball family actually occurred off the field. We'll have more after a quick break.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Some things are bigger than baseball, and as we wrap up our show today, we want to share a story with you that embodies that very message. The Arteaga family runs a nonprofit organization known as the Be the Light Foundation. Be the Light is meant to be an inspiration, but the foundation's roots come from a time of tragedy in the Arteaga family. I had a chance to attend one of the foundation's events this spring and learn more about the Arteaga family's mission with Be the Light. On the morning of March 3rd, J.D. Arteaga and the Hurricanes were preparing to take on the Florida Gators at home. But his wife Isha led the celebration of their son Ari's 22nd birthday with a walkathon at Continental Park in Kendall. This annual event is one of many organized by the Arteagas for their Be the Light Foundation, which serves to raise funds for families in financial need to be able to afford a Christian education.
We started out with a scholarship. That's our biggest fund. And so we wanted to make sure that kids that wanted to attend a faith-based school, Christian faith-based, had that same opportunity, and that finance wasn't an issue.
Dozens of friends and family attended the walkathon to support Ari and Be the Light, but his birthday celebration was far from usual. This year marked the 5th heavenly birthday for Ari, after the then 16-year-old's life was taken in a fatal car accident.
He was the light in all of his friends' lives. He was the center, made everyone laugh. He was one of those kids that would walk into a room and he was the light. He made anyone smile.
Being a light in the lives of other people was Ari's purpose, and shortly after he passed, his family discovered that same signature phrase on his Instagram bio, and they decided to make it the namesake for his foundation.
To us, Be the Light is be the light of Christ, be the light of God, be the light in somebody else's life, be the better person, do the better thing, shine, give joy. So I'm like, that's the name. He left that behind for us to do something with it. So that's how we started.
As much as Be the Light is about impacting others, the foundation's roots come from the Arteagas trying to find a light in their own lives. After an unthinkable tragedy, it was Ari's purpose that helped his family get back on their feet.
You know, JD and I remember right after he passed, I think it was in day 3, we decided not to stay in bed and cry, to honor him. Life is still to be lived, and my son wouldn't want us to be sad. He was a child that was full of life and joy and made the best out of every moment.
Ari's birthday walkathon, more than anything else, was about creating a space for love, community, and joy during a time of grief. And the team behind the event went all out to make it special for him as he watched from above. Ari was known for his funky personality, so participants in the walk brought out their tackiest outfits, wore props, and enjoyed multiple decorative signs of Ari along the 5K route. For those that knew him best, there was no better way to honor him.
So Ari loved to dress up, and he was a huge goofball. He was known as like the class clown, and so we really want to, take that into account for this event.
It didn't need to be Halloween. He wanted to bring joy and laughter. Just enjoy life. Don't worry about, what you look like or how people are going to perceive you. If you like wearing something fun, do it. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the process of being funky.
And that's all the time we have for this special presentation of Sports Desk. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.